Hi again, boys and girls. It's nice to see you all and visit with you again. I hope you're doing well and you continue to stay at home and wash your hands and stay healthy to protect yourself and your family. Um, I know things here are running smoothly. I'm here to continue with the Night at Dawn for you. Last time we were together, I read chapters 1 through 3. Today, I'll continue with chapters 4 and 5 in Jack and Annie's adventure. Um, so I hope you enjoy. Remember, should continue to read 20 minutes uninterrupted every day. Um, you can go to my Google site. You can take AR quizzes from home now. So my Google site will explain everything to you on how to do that. And you can ask your family for help if you need help. Also, if you want to do the optional extension activity for this book, just answering a couple questions, that would be great. I'd love to read your responses. All the instructions are on my Google site. So I'm going to continue with the Night at Dawn. And we left off at the part where Jack saw his sister Annie running into the castle. And that's where I'll pick up at the end of chapter 3. He heard the real drums and the real horns. He saw the real hawk house and the real windmill, the real moat. He saw Annie dashing across the real drawbridge. Then she vanished through the gate leading to the castle. Chapter 4, Into the Castle. I'm going to kill her, muttered Jack. He threw his stuff into his pack and moved toward the drawbridge. He hoped no one would see him. It was getting darker. It must be night. When he got to the bridge, he started across. The wooden planks creaked under his feet. He peered over the edge of the bridge. Were there any crocodiles in the moat? He couldn't tell. Halt, someone shouted. A guard on top of the castle wall was looking down. Jack dashed across the bridge. He ran through the castle gate and into the courtyard. From inside the castle came the sounds of music, shouting, and laughter. Jack hurried to a dark corner and crouched down. He shivered as he looked around for Annie. Torches lit the high wall around the courtyard. The courtyard was nearly empty. 2 boys led horses that clopped over the gray cobblestones. Nee-haw! Jack turned. It was the knight's black horse. Psst! He peered into the darkness. There was Annie. She was hiding behind a well in the center of the courtyard. She waved at him. Jack waved back. He waited till the boys and horses disappeared inside the stable. Then he dashed to the well. I'm going to find the music, whispered Annie. Are you coming? Okay, Jack said with a sigh. They tiptoed together across the cobblestones. Then they slipped into the entrance of the castle. Noise and music came from a bright room in front of them. They stood on one side of the doorway and peeked in. The feast in the great hall, whispered Jack. He held his breath and he stared in awe. A giant fireplace blazed at one end of the noisy room. Antlers and rugs hung on the stone walls. Flowers covered the floor. Boys in short dresses carried huge trays of food. Dogs were fighting over bones under the table. People in bright clothes and funny hats strolled among the crowd. Some played funny-shaped guitars. Some tossed balls in the air. Some balanced swords on their hands. Men and women dressed in capes and furs sat at long, crowded wooden tables. I wonder which one is the knight, said Jack. I don't know, whispered Annie, but they're eating with their fingers. Suddenly, someone shouted behind them. Jack whirled around. A man carrying a tray of pies was standing a few feet away. Who art thou? He asked angrily. Jack, squeaked Jack. Annie, squeaked Annie. Then they ran as fast as they could down a dimly lit hallway. Chapter 5, Trapped. Come on, cried Annie. Jack raced behind her. Were they being followed? Here, quick! Annie dashed toward a door off the hallway. She pushed the door open. The 2 of them stumbled into a dark, cold room. The door creaked shut behind them. Give me your flashlight, said Annie. Jack handed it to her, and she switched it on. Yikes! A row of knights stood right in front of her. Annie flicked off the light. Silence. They aren't moving, Jack whispered. Annie turned the light back on. They're just suits, Jack said. Without heads, said Annie. Let me have the flashlight a second, said Jack, so I can look in the book. Annie handed him the flashlight. He pulled out the castle book. He flipped through the pages until he found what he was looking for. Jack put the book away. It's called the Armory, he said. It's where armor and weapons are stored. He shined the flashlight around the room. Oh, man, whispered Jack. The light fell on shiny breastplates, leg plates, arm plates, on shelves filled with helmets and weapons, on shields, spears, swords, crossbows, clubs, battle axes. There was a noise in the hall. Voices. Let's hide, said Annie. Wait, said Jack. I got to check on something first. Hurry, said Annie. It'll take a second, said Jack. Hold this. He handed Annie the flashlight. He tried to lift a helmet from a shelf. It was too heavy. He bent over and dragged the helmet over his head. The visor slammed shut. Oh, forget it. It was worse than having a 5-year-old on your head. More like having a 10-year-old on your head. Not only could Jack not lift his head, he couldn't see anything either. Jack! Annie's voice sounded far away. The voices are getting closer. Turn off the flashlight, Jack's voice echoed inside the metal chamber. He struggled to get the helmet off. Suddenly, he lost his balance and went crashing into other pieces of armor. The metal plates and weapons clattered to the floor. Jack lay on the floor in the dark. He tried to get up, but his head was too heavy. He heard deep voices. Someone grabbed him by the arm. The next thing he knew, his helmet was yanked off. He was staring into the blazing light of a fiery torch. Okay, I'm going to put a bookmark here for Chapter 6. Ta-da! And I hope you like these next 2 chapters. And I hope that you continue to do well and stay healthy. And I miss you very much. So until next week when I pick up with Chapter 6, I'll see you then. Bye.